Who's sitting there?
You are. No.
Thank you. Oh, 6:05. She's late. We have to cancel the show.
In case of an emergency, and if the fire alarm goes off, I'll locate it there.
Thank you all for attending this charity event. There's one person among you that should not be here. That's the man sitting in row 3, wearing a white lab coat. Sitting in his underwear with handcuffs to a chair. So no matter how horrible it's going to get, Kage. Okay, I'm just going to see if Grandma Kage is ready. It's a fragile little woman, so I have to make sure. Are you ready? Wilma? No. Wilma, no. I told you. It's for charity. Ladies and gentlemen, Grandma Kage.
Behaving.
A whole bunch of money. How much did you say it was?
For this event alone?
Yeah, all together.
Almost 4,000.
Okay, and on your way out.
You stay right there.
That's okay. I thought I might talk about. I'm not used to doing this. You can't hear me say.
Night.
Put the microphone over. Oh, that's okay. Do that. So, you want to find embarrassing things about one of my children. 3 children. I had a girl who is now over 50. She's responsible for this, about all of it. And then I had another girl 5 years later. 5 years later? And she sat back and watched everything. And if she did any of those same things, I don't know about it. She was extremely quiet. She was so easy to raise. I don't know whether she was sneaky or whether she was easy to raise. But she's not given me any trouble. She's given me grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and that's pretty special. Then 5 years later, I had a little boy. Such a huge difference between raising girls and raising boys. One of the first things I said when anybody asked me how was my son My comment was if I'd had him first, I would have never had any children. Embarrassing things that he did. All right, I got a list. Somebody messed up my list. Okay, he spent a lot of time in front of the television set. And he learned to read and talk because of this old program called Sesame Street. Remember it? You remember Easy Reader? So he learned to read from Easy Reader. He had a lot of words that he said that he mispronounced. One of the things that one of my girls reminded me that would be sort of funny, we had a nice little house with my husband built a nice little cement patio with the roof on it. We had a bunch of friends over one night. The backyard had a hill like this.
Mike.
What am I doing? Microphone. I will learn. He was pushing a Tonka truck. You remember Tonka trucks?
Damn it, no.
You still have them? He's trying to get it up the hill. And he said, "Go Fruck! Go Fruck!" And the company was like, "What did that kid say?" But it was not so funny at the time. It was embarrassing. But when you tell him about it now, I can see him slinking down in his seat. Payback. Alrighty. My daughter said also remind him to tell about, we used to go to Alabama to visit my husband's family for our vacations for 2 weeks every summer. Back in the olden days, you had station wagons that didn't have seat belts. There were no safety restraints. You threw a blanket across the back of the station wagon and told the kids that's where they're going to sleep. And keep yourself amused and don't make any noise or I'm going to hit you. Now you're not allowed to do that now. So one time we were coming home and my husband was very strict about, here's where we're going to stop. Fayetteville, Montgomery, this was it. So many miles between each one of these cities, where we're going to stop. You hold it until you get there. And this one night he was in, yes. Station wagons used to have windows that cranked down in the back.
Pause. Sam will pay €200 to the tragedy if you do not tell this story.
Charity, not tragedy, charity. Chen Long, you have my pants. My money's in the wallet. Could you get out €200,
All right,
please?
tell me whether I should say it or not.
Could you get out €200 from my pants pocket, please?
Never mind. I raised it to 1,000. I can do that because I'm the boss. And so, as we're driving along in sort of traffic, my husband said, "It's not raining. Why does that guy behind us have his windshield wipers on?" And I looked back and Sam was lying down going to sleep. So he didn't have to go anymore. Embarrassing enough for you? Okay. Oh, this is sort of more my fault. He was in first or second grade and we went someplace. I think we were coming back from my mother's. He drove me crazy with wanting to know why. How come? Well, how? Well, what if? Why? And on the way home, he said, "How does the internal combustion engine work?" I said, "Well, you mean like the car?" "Yes." I said, "Well, you put the key in the hole, and you turn it, and you get an ignition, and then a spark goes around a wire or a tube, and it goes to distributor, something like that, and then it goes to a spark plug, and a spark plug makes a spark, and then it goes to what I remember, a carburetor, and then a camshaft, and wheels go up and down inside the engine. And that satisfied him. By the time I got through this big, long thing, we were home. The next day he came home from school. I think he never trusted me after that, because he said, "Mom, you told me the wrong thing." Why? Well, I had to tell about how the internal combustion engine worked, so I told him what you said. And the teacher said, "Where did you get that bit of information?" And he said, "My mom." I'm sorry about that, kid. But from then on, he was pretty secretive. And it was like a different kid. He lost my trust, or I lost his trust. Anyhow, next thing. You want to know how to fix a glass pack? This is stuff that I did when I was a kid. We're going to talk about me as a kid.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I can remember my mom saying to me, "I hope you have 4 girls just like you." I remember saying that to my first daughter. But I had sort of a charmed kind of childhood, because way back in those days, parents told their kids in the summer, "Go out to play, come back at noon for lunch. After lunch, come back at 5 o'clock for dinner." We knew what time it was because there was a business in the area that had a whistle. It was some kind of a factory, and the employees had to be there at 9. They went for lunch at noon, and they left at 5. So this was perfect for us. And we did a lot of mischievous things. It was fortunate or unfortunate. I was one of 6 kids the same age who lived on our street. All the others were boys. So we did boy stuff. I learned how to be really good at Mumbledy Peg. Anybody know what that is? Nobody remembers Mumbledy Peg. Okay. Mumbledy Peg was a game that you played with a throwing knife, not a knife with a real sharp edge, not like a Bowie knife. Use that for different things. Throwing knives. I can't do it without taking this down. Balance the knife on your finger, and it goes in the dirt and stands up, you get a point. Okay, I can't get loose. Oh, okay. Super duper. English ingenuity.
Contrary to popular belief, England and Scotland don't hate each other that much.
It's not the countries themselves, it's the people. It's not that countries don't hate each other,
Yeah.
just some of the people, which is,
All of them.
okay. You should have heard my mother about the Irish. Both of my sisters, one of my sisters married an Irishman. Both of my daughters married Irishmen. So my mom would have turned over in her grave. Sorry, Mom. That's the way it goes. Mumbledy Peg. You get points. And you do each finger, thumb, then you do your knuckles, then you do your wrist, then you do your chin. Put the knife here, flip it over, and if it hits in the dirt, you get another point. I never got farther than my nose. I just could not do it. We had a boy who did it all the way up to the top of his head all the time. It was fun. It was a neat childhood. The kids today don't have anywhere near the freedom that we had. We weren't stifled by television the way the kids are today, the way a lot of you were, I'm sorry to say. We just went outside and we had fun. We didn't know that all mothers who didn't work, because nobody's mother worked, were watching us. We thought we were living freedom. There was always somebody reporting back. I used to wonder why my mom knew stuff about me. Her friends told her. So, how to fix a glass pack. Do cars still have glass packs, mufflers? No? Well, we used to have this really neat boom sound in the cars. And if you wanted to make them really, really loud, you took a broom and you shoved it in the tailpipe and you pushed the baffles out of the glass packs. And it sounded like a big motorcycle. You probably heard them, you just don't know what they were. Everybody all over the world did it. My father found out he did it, he wasn't happy. I was definitely Daddy's little girl. I didn't know I was a girl until I was 13. I thought I was just one of the boys. It was quite a shock. We developed a little game that we used to play. They kept getting bigger and bigger and getting muscles and doing sports kind of stuff, and I just sort of stayed little. I guess I was cute. I didn't think I was. I used to flirt with guys, and if they would make a pass at me, then my friends would beat them up. It was fun. This was a lot of fun. So if I would pick a guy and let them know that this is the next target, we never really hurt anybody very much. No broken bones. Bruises. I never touched any. Well, sorry, I did touch one. There was this guy, soldier, at the army camp near us. Now, this is the true story of how his parents met, not what he said. I'm telling the true story. I used to ride a motorcycle, and we had this place that we rode called the Pike. It was called Lancaster Pike, and we used to go up and down and make loud noises and scare all the people. And that was fun. He never paid any attention to me, Big Sam Conway. This really ticked me off because he was really, really cute. And all of the girls were trying to get him to go out with me. I thought he was aloof and arrogant. He was just shy. And one time, more background, another game we used to play. The guys were always proud of having hard muscles in their stomach. And they would say, go ahead, punch me. I'll make a muscle. Punch me in my stomach. So I punched the stomach and my hand would bounce off. And Big Sam didn't know about this because he was from out of town. And he was standing in front of Horn and Hardart's restaurant. Anybody remember what Horn and Hardart's are? 2 people? It was an automatic food dispensing restaurant. They put the sandwiches in little boxes. This was the first of the fast food places. He was standing out front, and I got off my bike, and my guys were sort of down the road a little bit. And I walked up to him, and I said, make a muscle. And he just looked at me, so I punched him in the stomach, and hit his backbone, and he went down. Then we were married 2 months later. I can't tell you how many different stories I've heard about that. Nobody beat him up. If he had taken a swing at me, he would, yeah, but nobody beat him. Okay, next thing, what we did when we were teenagers. Okay. This is past that. When little Sam was, I'm sorry about that. When Sam Jr. was little, he had really bad earaches. Every time we went to the doctor, he had pain. So he associated people in lab coats with pain. He developed such a fear of people in lab coats, the doctors had to take their coats off for him to be seen. I don't know what happened. He would scream, he would get red in the face, and hands out and legs out, scream. They stopped wearing lab coats for him, which it was nice, because they couldn't get paid if they couldn't see it. So, embarrassing things that he's done. I gotta get this last longer. When the children were little, we thought it would be really nice to socialize them. take them out to dinner at nice restaurants and dress them up in their little frilly dresses and little suit and little bow tie. And we went to a Chinese restaurant. And he's in this little... Maybe it was an Asian restaurant. It was Chinese. It said Chinese restaurant right on the top. And because he had so much TV association, a young girl with blonde hair, sat him down in a high chair. And the very, very Asian waiter came out, and Sam goes, "Batman!" We stopped taking them out for about a year and a half. Y'all remember the Three Stooges? Anybody know the Three Stooges? You know that thing that they used to do? I can't do it. You know, he did it all the time. And his father took him, I think, to work, and one of the guys was bald. So Sam did that whole Three Stooges act. And his father's holding him, not knowing how to shut him up. I told him later what you do is pinch him.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if it'll work today, but it worked then. He used to have little bruises all over his legs. It worked. He didn't need to be smacked down so much as pinched. What else? What do you want me to tell about you? What do you not want me to tell about you?
Don't tell about how smart I was in grammar school.
I won't tell you about how smart he was in grammar school, but since he was the smartest kid in the school, of course, and that's not just because I'm his mother, it's because he was a smart-ass little kid. He used to do things like, anybody been bullied? The best way to stop a bully is after your first science class, say, "Michael, I know how to make a firebomb, and I know where you live." So, if you have children or nieces or nephews who are bullied, I got all the answers. Threaten them like crazy. And then when they tell the parents, you deny everything. Maybe that's where he got it. I don't know. Glen Echo Shooting Gallery. That's Tad. No. We used to wear our motorcycle outfits were engineer boots. None of you are old enough to remember engineer boots. They were sort of like slip-on boots, and they had a metal ring on the side. I don't remember what the metal ring was for, and we called them engineer boots, and that's what we used when we rode our motorcycles. And one night we were hanging out at Horn on Hard Arts, which is where we always hung out. And this kid, two kids, were hostile to each other. And the one guy took his not throwing knife and put a great big X in the rag top of the other guy's car, brand new car. And somebody called the police. So Jeff, the guy who was the perpetrator, ran into Horn and Hard Arts, and he came back very innocently when the police came. The police went right in, looked in the toilet, and picked the knife up out of the back of the toilet. I don't know how they knew that, but they marched us down the pike to the police station, which was sort of neat because we walked in step and we made clunk, 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 clunk. The police station was about 3/4 of a mile down the pike. And they got us, the sergeant was up on a big thing like this, and we were all sitting down in little chairs like that. There were, I think, 9 of us. The 2 kids who did it, and then my 6 guys and me. And they were sitting there, and the police sergeant says, "Aren't you Bill Kershaw's girl?" "What?" "And you, Tommy, Matt O'Halloran's boy." Oh my God. Cop went to school with our parents. we didn't know that everybody knew everything we did. I think kids get away with a lot more now because their parents are working, their mothers are working. But the telephone lines were really, really busy all the time. Because that's how we got in trouble. So, I'm not going to tell you any more about stuff I did. I have to figure out, oh, I'll tell you something I did. I'll tell you something fun I did. Toga Party. You won't mind that. This will be the truth. Okay, when my daughter, Cindy, who is here today, was in college, they were having a Toga Party. I was taking adult extension courses at the same college. It was about 7 miles up the road from us. And since nobody was old enough in Pennsylvania to buy alcohol, the stupid mother goes into the state store and buys all this alcohol for the party. On the way up to the party, I was driving a little bit too fast, and the policeman stopped me. Fortunately, I had put Cindy's laundry on top of the case of alcohol. And he said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "I'm going to take my daughter's laundry up to the college." He said, "Well, okay, but you were going a little bit too fast through this little town." 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. Who does 35 miles an hour? You know, it was 3 houses and you're through the town. So he didn't look. And I went up and we were drinking very mild wine coolers. Do they still make wine coolers? They do? They were very good. It was like drinking soda. I drank a lot of them. And we ran out. Cindy lived in this building called the Quad. Do you remember the name of the girl who gave us the punch?
I do not know who made it.
It was orange juice.
I
It was
She
delicious.
thought it was fruit punch. She thought it was fruit
It
punch.
had ice cubes in it, and ice cream, and vodka. A lot of vodka. But I didn't know. I had never had vodka before, as far as I knew. I had a very sheltered life. After we ran out of whatever we were drinking at Cindy's room, we wandered around other rooms, and I drank a couple of glasses or 3 of this punch. And we were sitting on the floor. This was when I could get down and get back up again. We had a very, very good friend, Neil, who wore a sheet. He was a toga person. And he was 6'5", very large, very, very big guy. And I was sitting there, and all of a sudden he started to become distorted. It was really, really a strange sensation. Like he was moving like this. His body was staying here, but the sides of him were moving. And I thought, maybe I better get up and walk around in the floor. Earthquake! It was like going like that, and I thought, I better go outside. I think the fresh air was very bad for me, because the next thing I knew I was on all fours, being extremely ill. And here's all these college kids who knew my daughter, walking past. Oh, that's Cindy's mother. And at that time I had this adorable little Fiat. Now Fiats, I don't know much about the Fiats today, but back in 1969, I had a 1964 Fiat. And this would have been, what year, Cindy?
82.
Oh, well, I had it for a long time. I couldn't find anybody who could work on it because their hands were too big. So I got a couple of books and read about fixing Fiats. And then I bought a junked Fiat, and I took pieces off and put my car together. Until I went to get it inspected, and they wouldn't inspect it because the guy picked the driver's seat up and said, "You can't drive this anymore." They were something called unibody construction. The whole car was made out of one piece of metal. Anyhow, all I could think about was somebody else was going to have to drive my car home. Now they tell me that I kept saying, "I want my little Fiat car." I don't. Did I?
Yes.
Who drove it home?
No, Dad drove you home.
Who drove my car home?
Be quiet. The statute of limitations is not passed.
Well, my recollection of getting home is my husband coming up for me, not saying word one. He didn't, I thought he was going to really, but he didn't. And I walked in the house, and he took my arm and put my hand on the railing, and I went upstairs, got undressed, and went to bed. That's not the way my son tells it. According to him, I stumbled up the steps. He's at the top of the steps, and I don't remember. His dad just said, "Go to bed. Your mom's not feeling well." And whatever else he tells you is not true. I was there, I remember.
You give us 500 euros, I'll tell you the true story. 500 euros on their steps and you'll hear the true story.
I was sort of drunk. So my memory of it is just, you ever been drunk? Sure, right? And the next day it's like, did I dream that I did that? Or did I really do it? And sometimes you really did it.
This direct lady off your trousers.
Is he wearing that?
Carry on, just carry on, carry on, carry on. What are you doing?
Cover yourself up.
No, I have. Continue, please.
Something to cover yourself? What are you drinking?
Nothing.
I have some water here.
Oh my God! Look!
How did you get your trousers?
What? No, I'm wearing my
Joe,
trousers.
he's sitting
I'm
there.
wearing my trousers, dear.
He's a Scotsman.
I am wearing my trousers.
That looks. Bring
Okay.
it on stage.
Would you please pour into the?
It's empty. It's empty.
Carry on, please.
What else?
already there. Sorry.
Somebody said to remember to talk about Ruby Falls. I've forgotten about
No.
Ruby Falls.
Ruby Falls.
Ruby Falls. Slowly I turn. Step by step. We tried to introduce culture to the children as they were growing up. It didn't work on some of them. So we went into, way back in the olden days, before everything was so over-commercialized, we went and visited tourist attractions that were just little tourist attractions. You could get into Ruby Falls for $6 a person. Now I think it's 60. Ruby Falls is a cavern system in whatever that state is. Cindy could probably tell it better.
It's either in Virginia or North Carolina.
I think it's in North Carolina. No, it's by Lookout Mountain. It's by Lookout Mountain.
Just carry on.
By Bristol, Tennessee. This involves another bathroom incident. Little boys are different from little girls. You don't have to rush them into a place. They just go. Ruby Falls is a beautiful tourist attraction, and I'm sure that somebody spent a lot of time cleaning up after we were there. Sorry about that. He was little, what, 3, 4, 5, 7?
15.
Okay, be louder. Is it almost time for me to stop talking?
9? I mean, yes. You're finished. Time to stop.
I need to see how much y'all know about the lemurs and how much endangered they are. I didn't get a chance to talk to the people about them because they were busy watching the parade, which I thought was pretty neat, but they were like, oh my God, look at all those people in costume, dressing up like animals. Are there any lemurs? Does anybody have a lemur costume? Wouldn't that be a neat thing? That would be an original.
I'm going to build one. I'm going to build one. 2, to be exactly. One for me and one for my sister.
Oh, she's going to build one.
Okay, and walk around with a charity bucket. I think it's really a lot of fun to help collect for a charity. We had a
Take my trousers.
Yes.
we had an animal charity that we did for Anthropon this year. It was called the South Hills Animal Pet Rescue Center. 2 couple who had a small farm. The man trained dogs. That's what he did for a living. He trained dogs for people. And one day, a local animal rescue society asked if they would babysit for some of their animals while they went on vacation. And they never came back. So they had 56 dogs that needed to be trained and rehomed. And they did. Within 6 months, they had rehomed every single one of those dogs. Now, they're rescuing, this is terrible to say, they're rescuing dogs from dog farms in Korea because they have, like cattle farms, cattle ranches, they have dog ranches. So they go over and they buy the dogs for $2 a piece and bring them home, and it's different kind of dogs, something like Basenji. I'm not familiar with the breed, but they had all kinds of really beautiful little pit bulls. So if you're ever in Pittsburgh and you need a dog, I'm still pushing this. But the lemurs, I would love to know more about, if anybody knows anything about them. I just know that their natural habitats are being destroyed, both by the native people, because they don't farm. They just eat trees. And the lemurs, that's where they live. Then somebody introduced another species that wasn't native to the land, and they were eating up all of the good lemur food, and the people were eating the lemurs. So this people who are here today are raising money to re-educate the native people so that they will farm instead of eating the lemurs, who are hardly any left, which I think is a really worthwhile thing. My first thought was, if all the people have to eat is the lemurs, you don't want to rescue the lemurs so they're going to get eaten. So what they're really doing is re-educating the people so that the lemurs can live. They're cute little things. I never saw one before. So give money. It's nice. She's given me more stuff to talk about.
Tell about Harley.
My dog?
Yeah.
Oh, I love dogs. I had, my mother was afraid of dogs because she was chased and almost gotten by a rabid dog. It chased her into the house, it ran through the screen. This was back in the days when men kept their shotguns loaded by the front door. And my grandfather picked up the shotgun and shot the dog when it was like 2 feet from my mother. So she didn't want animals around. Whenever she was visiting us, she would say, call our animals animal. Never used their names. We always had 2 cats and 2 dogs, and sometimes mice and whatever else, spiders and stuff. He had pet spiders that I wasn't allowed to dust his room. Where we were going with this.
Harley.
The dog that we had, 2 dogs that we had just before he went to do a postdoc in Chicago. And I was a little bit lonely, and I thought it was too traumatic when you have to sign the paper that says it's okay for the vet to kill your dog. I was smarting from that for a couple of years. And I had a little office my husband built in the back of our house. And I was out there cleaning it one day, and I heard this, There's a dog in the yard. I swore it was a dog. He said it was a bird. And that night he called and he said, I'm coming home, I'm bringing you a present. Okay, what is it? You're going to love it. He brought home a dog, Harley. I keep saying he was the best dog, but Frisky was the best dog. Duke was our best dog. We had a whole bunch of best dogs. He was so easy to train. I had the people with the electric fence come, and they put this wire all around our property, and they just walked him up to it one time with a collar on it. One time. And he got a little bit of a shock. He never went out of the yard again. In fact, when I had to take him out of the yard, I had to pick him up, put him in the car, and drive him out of the driveway because you couldn't get him to go out of the yard. Sam rescued him, sort of, in Colorado?
Arkansas, yeah.
Arkansas, one of those places over on the other side of Pennsylvania. There is nothing but wilderness. It's forests and mountains and stuff. He had friends who had birds of prey that they rescued. They lived in a house that was a geodesic dome. It had been some avant-garde engineering project. They blew up a huge balloon and then put wire around it and poured concrete over it. And that's where the people lived. She is an author. He's an artist. And Sam visited him a lot when he was living out in the West someplace. And they had a dog abandoned on their property. Cute little black dog, part chow, part maybe Akita. It had a lab temperament, no chow temperament at all. Cute. And he brought him home, and that was my dog. And then the day after Christmas, 7 years ago, I had to sign that paper again. Never, ever again. Don't bring me another dog. No matter how much I say, I want another dog, don't do it. I can't do that. It's hard. If you ever had to do it, you know. That's all I'm going to talk about that. 50th wedding anniversary. How many, anybody were here when we had our 50th wedding anniversary? You remember, we had Heather Alexander was the entertainment. And we were sitting, back up a little bit. He asked me, what do you want to do for your 50th wedding anniversary? And he had been showing us pictures of Germany and all these neat places and telling us about when he was visiting in Europe. So I said, hey, I'd love to see Europe. I'd love to go to Eurofurence. So he talked to Night Fox and they made it happen because that's what they do. And we went to Paris, we did the Eiffel Tower, but the thing that I remember most is the Eurofurence that year was at Nuremberg Castle. Nuremberg Castle, if you've ever been, it's fantastic. It was built way up on top of a hill. It was never conquered. Well, we sort of, 1945 did. But it was never conquered because the people just stood up this top and shoot arrows down and nobody could get up the hill. But we were out on the parapet looking at the beautiful lights of Nuremberg, and somebody came out and said, the entertainer wants to meet you. Oh my God, she wants to meet us? Oh wow. So we went in and they were having a party for us. They had 2 pictures of us from before we were married when we were young and had dark hair. They were on these big television screens on the wall and everybody was lighting candles. They were playing a song, first song we ever danced to, which sort of made us a little bit nostalgic, cry a little bit. But it was so fantastic. The Eurofurence people pull out all stops when they want to entertain. I think it was magnificent. I don't know how much he had in it. My idea is just, he said, Nightbox, I want to have a party for my mom, and Nightbox made it happen. So, that's my thought. Couldn't have been more gracious, and we've been coming back every year ever since. Or I have. My husband doesn't because he can't. He's stuck at home in a jar. Sorry, I can't let him go. Is my hour up yet?
Tell us about the shotgun wedding, darling.
Well, that wasn't mine. No, that wasn't mine. My mom and dad were next door neighbors, and their fathers were hunting buddies, and they went hunting together and did all this men's stuff. And my mom was the oldest of 9 children, and her mother was ill. She had cervical cancer. You know how you get that, don't you? From a guy who was cheating on you. Men did that back in the olden days. I'm sure they don't do it anymore. But this is my family. My mom was going to a Bible conference in Philadelphia. She was very, very churchy. She had Mennonite heritage. And she was playing the piano in church and churchy. And my dad was a motorcycle hill climber. That's where I was able to ride motorcycles. And he was going to a big motorcycle hill climbing event that weekend. And there was a little bit of discussion about how Mom was going to get home from the thing in Philadelphia. She would have to take a bus, then a train, and somebody would have to meet her. So he said, I'll pick her up on my way back from the hill climb. Fine, everything went really good. And the following weekend, somebody who was visiting one of the neighbors said to my father's mother, what were you all doing at the Ben Franklin Hotel last weekend? We weren't there. Well, we saw register Mr. and Mrs. William. Oh, well, he hit the fan. That's the way it went. And then, I don't remember the exact sequence of events, but I know that my father's father forced them shotgun to get married. She wasn't pregnant, but they did stay together. And big family dirty story. This was something that was hidden until after my parents were gone, and one of my uncles told me. It was a real big secret. I think it's a neat thing to have. They were human. I thought that they weren't human. Okay? Time's up. My glasses are there.
Und mine.
My glasses kaputt.
Hilfe!
Helfe mir. 9. Keine Person hat Wein.
You excuse me, I'm going to go find my trousers.
Oh my God! Here, quick.
Excuse me, I have to go.
Ian went out with his pants. The drag with
Speedo on underneath because I left before.
I'm sitting close to
It still fits him. He wore that when he was like 18. He weighed about 135, 140 pounds, and he's stretched. Alrighty. What am I supposed to do now? Say I gotta wrap it up. I've never done this before, so I don't know what I'm doing. So I will just say thank you all for coming and for being patient and listening to me babble on. See you all again. Bye.